All right, so welcome, Archie,
Hello, thank you.
back to the Zoom room for another Art of Letting Go live session. So let's dive into our daily quote for today, and it'll lead us nicely into today's workbook lesson. We're on lesson 78, I believe. So let me share my screen if you can read the volume and share screen. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
All good. Okay, so you can read that quote from Deepak Chopra
Yeah.
kindly for us.
So every decision I make is a choice between a grievance and a miracle.
Yeah, which Deepak Chopra adapted from A Course in Miracles. He has read and studied it. He's really just stating the fundamental choice every person faces
Mm.
all the time, very succinctly. You know, you got a grievance or you got a miracle. So even with something as simple as the weather, which is a favorite topic of conversation in the UK. Oh, it's very cold today. Oh, it's raining. Complaint, grievance. Right? That is a grievance against the weather.
Mm.
The miracle is, well, it's raining, but it's fine.
Mm.
It's not bothered. I'm not bothered by it. Or, well, we actually need some rain,
Mm.
so it's fine.
Mm.
Um, and so these are the choices we have.
Mm.
Every decision. You either have a grievance, which in Eastern teachings is called aversion. In Buddhism, it would be called aversion. It's a form of craving. It's I want this to be in some way different from what it is.
Yeah.
That's aversion.
Yeah.
So I desire for it to be different than what it is, although it is what it is.
Mm.
But no, I want it to be different. And now you, in aversion or resistance, would be maybe a more modern psychological term, a grievance against a person, against a situation, against life. The more you do it, the
Yeah.
more you end up having a grievance against the world, against the
Yeah.
entirety of your life, because it becomes a habit pattern. You know, I've seen it personally, witnessed how just grievance after grievance after grievance
Mm.
comes into someone's mind, and it's just like it's a never ending. It's a never ending grievance machine.
Yeah.
You know, your mind just manufactures more and more grievances, and it's never ever going to be okay because there's
Mm.
always going to be justification for another grievance once you allow the principle. If you allow one grievance in, then you're saying, okay, I allow the principle. Yes, the world is real. Yes, the world can affect me. Yes, the world isn't a very nice place. Yes, I'm justified in having my grievance. Yes, I'm a victim. As soon as you say yes once, you're saying to the ego, okay, well, I can do, you can do it again then. Try
Yeah.
me with another grievance. Try me with another justification for a grievance. And the ego says, of course, with pleasure. Here we go. There's another opportunity. And then if you've just done it once, you go, okay, well, I'll do the same thing here, right? Oh, there's a chance for another grievance.
Yeah.
And then the next, and then the next, until it's like, well, it's endless. You're just a walking grievance machine.
Yeah.
And the ego's, got you hooked into that. And you now believe you're a victim of the world. And guess what? You're not very happy.
Mm.
Because how can you be happy when you continuously hold a grievance
Mm.
against the world and against everything? You're saying everything, grievance says it's not okay. Grievance is saying, I'm not okay, the world's not okay, I have reason to be unhappy, I have reason not to be peaceful. So it makes the ego reality in
Mm.
your mind. So it's important you remember that this is the underlying choice behind every decision you're faced with
Yeah.
in the illusion of time and space, because otherwise it's easy to get confused about your true purpose here and then just make the wrong decision by
Mm.
holding a grievance.
Mm.
As soon as you hold a grievance, you made the wrong decision. It's as simple as that. The Course what I love about it is it's so black and white. There's
Yeah.
no, oh, well, in that case, a grievance might be justified. Or in that case, worry is okay. It's like, no, it just isn't.
Yeah.
It's never justified, no matter how much, someone might have murdered your son or daughter, and that does happen sometimes in life to people. Still, a grievance isn't justified. Even in that extreme situation,
Mm.
it's not justified
Mm.
because you still are making the mistake of believing in the unreal, of binding your mind into time space, believing you're a separate self, believing you can be hurt, believing you're a victim. And so it keeps your mind bound to its belief in separation, scarcity, and the space time continuum, which is the matrix, as
Yeah.
Einstein called it, which
Yeah.
is just an illusion based on the projection of this belief as he observed. He was an amazing guy because he was towards the end of his life, in his last 25 years, he became much more of a philosopher than a scientist.
Yeah.
I mean, read this quote. Do you need me to expand that a bit? Was it big enough?
If you can just make it slightly bigger.
It might be challenging because I can't see the.
Okay, no, don't worry. I'll just put the laptop on my lap. And yeah.
Oh, there we go. I can
Yeah.
actually see it. It's down there. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I've got it.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then yeah, brilliant. So a human being is a part of the whole called is a part of the whole called by us universe. Is a part of the whole called by us universe. A part
Called
limited.
universe by us would have been a better way of saying it.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. A part of the
Universe.
whole
Called
called
quote
by us
universe by
universe.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feeling as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty.
Oh, that is not a scientist saying that. That's a
No,
philosopher. That's a spiritual
yeah,
teacher. It's
yeah,
got nothing really. Well, the relation to science is the delusion of consciousness.
yes, yeah,
That's what he's figured out. In
mm,
all of his scientific inquiries have made him realize the truth.
mm,
So this is an optical delusion of consciousness, i.e., an illusion. Exactly what the mystics and gurus and spiritual teachers have been teaching us
mm,
for thousands of years. A kind of prison for us.
yeah,
Right? It's exactly what they've all said. The matrix imprisoning our minds, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us, special relationships,
mm,
personal desires.
mm,
And then the desires and the relationships lead to grievances because
mm,
those people nearest and dearest to you aren't always going to do what you want them to. So then you have justification for grievance, and your desires aren't always going to be met. So then you have a grievance. Which is why the Buddha said, desire is the source of all suffering
yeah,
because it sets you up to be disappointed. It sets you up for grievances. Without desires, you couldn't have a grievance, could you?
yeah,
There were no expectations, then you could have no grievance. It's as
mm,
simple as that.
mm,
So drop the desire, drop the expectation, and then you drop the grievances as well.
yeah,
You remember we did lesson 73, I think it was. We did that lesson the last time, where he said idle wishes and grievances are partners or co-makers in making the world that you see, the world that you perceive. Because it's two sides of the same coin. I have an idle wish or a desire, which I want to be achieved, but then it's not, and the ego knows that. Okay, well now it's set you up for a nice fat juicy desire. Now it's going to frustrate that desire because now you're going to you got a perfect setup for a grievance,
yeah,
which is why desire doesn't work as a manifestation tool
yeah,
because it sets you up for the grievance.
yeah. Dinner is on its way, Jonathan. So
Okay, no problem.
eat.
Fair warning. You've read this, so I'll do the rest of the talking. And then he goes on to say our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion i.e. love, loving kindness, to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty, right? The all-encompassing awareness that is the mark of enlightened beings. Everything is life, everything has life, everything therefore is connected. Everything is actually an extension of me. It's talking about unity consciousness. Amazing quote for a scientist, really. Very profound. So the profundity and magnitude of this simple choice can't really be overstated. Every decision you make contributes to perpetuating a false reality laced with sin, guilt, fear, and attack, all of which are confirmed when you hold a grievance against anyone or anything, or to freeing your mind from a self-created nightmare of this space-time illusion and returning it to an awareness of true eternal reality. So let's just have another look, shall we, at our descent into hell diagram, possibly my favorite diagram in the whole Art of Lingo course manual. So we see how it evolves from the idea of separation. We get a separate identity, an ego, consciousness, universal mind, belief in separation, or Satan. The Gnostics call it the demiurge. So it's the idea that I am not what I am. I am something separate from my pure formless awareness of perfect love, which gives rise to an individual self and a separate identity that's now been named. And now that self must feel guilty for the sin of destroying oneness, which gives its existence. And therein lies the problem of the ego. So you see why guilt and sin, and then its logical outcome of guilt and sin is fear. Because if I'm sinful and I'm guilty, then I deserve to be punished for this terrible sin I've committed. Then I fear false expectation of punishment appearing real. And I fear that this concept now I make up of a fearful, wrathful, separate God is going to come and get me and punish me for the sin of destroying oneness, destroying God. But hang on. You see the problem in the logic. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, you've destroyed God, but now God's going to come and punish you. So obviously you haven't destroyed God because you still believe in this idea that something out there is going to get you. And then the world enacts that punishment on you because you project it outwards. And what you seek to do is to blame everyone and everything else. That's why the ego is so addicted to blame. Instead of the guilt and the sin being mine, I'm going to project it onto someone else and they are to blame. And so now I'm off the hook. And God is, instead of going to get me and punish me, he, she, it is going to punish this other person or people onto whom I projected my guilt in the form of blame because they are more guilty than I am. It's all very primitive and childish, really. But this is the ego's thought system.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the more you do that, the more the guilt and the fear of attack, the projection of guilt in the form of accusation, blame, and counterattack, the more that happens. And the more that happens, the more you feel like you're a victim of an unfair world, living a helpless, enervated little life, which you'll notice is an acronym for hell, of limitation, lack, loneliness, suffering, and inevitably death. And the ego has then got you wrapped up in its thought system nicely in your little box, believing that you really are a body, you are a human being, you are a victim of the world, and it's all pretty scary. But the best you can do is survive and try and get a few scraps of pleasure along this fairly limited, lonely, suffering way to death. All pretty depressing, really. The reason I've gone through it is just to show that this is how the ego works, and this is false. None of it's true. What the Holy Spirit is saying is that you can let all of this go, and you can free your mind from all of it. So you choose either the sin, guilt, fear, and attack of that insane thought system that's confirmed when you hold a grievance against anyone or anything. It doesn't have to just be a person, or you dedicate yourself to freeing your mind.
Yeah.
From its self-created nightmare of the space-time illusion, returning to an awareness of true eternal reality, which is what the blue arrows are about.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I can reinterpret what's happening, and I can move from this point of attachment to whatever's happening, and it's terrible, and I feel guilty and sinful, and I can move my mind back into the pure formless awareness of perfect love by the Holy Spirit, which just reinterprets everything that happens in the dream. So it doesn't matter how bad the dream gets, the Holy Spirit just goes, nah, still not real. It's just not real. It's not real. Actually, just go back home and you'll find reality in your own mind. Kingdom of heaven is within you, as Yeshua said. But most people didn't really understand what that meant.
Yeah.
Which is problematic. If you don't understand what it means, then you can't apply it.
Yeah.
It means that it's always there, it's always been there. But because you've separated from it, you must return your mind to it. And that's an active choice.
Yeah.
That choice is forgiveness. When you say, okay, I'm just going to let go of these things instead of make them real and amp them up and really get emotionally juiced on them. You say, well, yeah, I can notice there's some guilt, there's some sin, there's some fear, there's some attack thoughts, but I can let them go. I can make another choice. And I can return my mind by making that choice into a version of this. Might be perfect, pure formless awareness of perfect love for forever, for all eternity, but you get a glimpse of it. Maybe you stay there for an evening, a day, and then okay, the ego comes back, and you find yourself getting tempted again by the same stuff, or maybe slightly different stuff. Yesterday it was rage. Today it might be jealousy. Tomorrow it might be guilt. The next day it might be despair, and so on. But whatever the emotion is, all the Holy Spirit does is says, but this isn't true.
Yeah.
It's so simple. Isn't that the only way to really interpret it? This simply isn't true. It's as untrue as everything else that goes on here. So let it go and return your mind to this perfect oneness or pure formless awareness, so perfect love, as you want to term it, by simply choosing to not validate, not honor this. Don't give it reality in your mind. All right. So any questions on that? We've been through it before, but it's
No,
always, in these concepts,
it's always really
it's
helpful
repetition.
to keep going through it. It's
You go back to the metaphysics, and then you see how it's all connected. And this is the answer. This is probably the most powerful diagram in the whole course manual because it's showing you the whole picture.
Yeah.
In a diagram, and you can see exactly how it all works, what the interrelationships are, where you end up, and then also the way out. Because the diagram is the Holy Spirit and the blue arrows, and you go, oh, well, how else am I going to get out? Given, if I believed in the ego, I'm a victim of the world. How am I going to get out of that trap? That's the question.
Yeah.
And the only way is you've got to let go of your current perception of reality. It's the only way you're ever going to accomplish it. Don't go straight back to pure formless awareness of perfect love, except through a change in perception, which is why Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. The only way to the Father, i.e., the source, pure formless awareness of perfect love, is through me, i.e., by following my example of forgiveness. That's what he meant. It's the only way you're ever going to do it. But obviously, people misinterpret that. Only through me. So we've got to worship him. He's some kind of demigod. He's a replacement for God himself. Some people are uncomfortable with that. None of that's true. He's just a way shower. He's an example. Yeah. Okay, I've done it, guys. So you can model yourself on me, because if you do that, then you'll get the same results. That's what he's trying to say to us, which is nothing more than what neuro-linguistic programming promises. Isn't it? It's the same thing. Okay, find someone, model yourself on someone who's successful, and you're likely to repeat that success. That doesn't always work because you're not them, and maybe they have certain things that you don't have and attributes. But I mean, it does make sense. If you want to be a great pianist, then find a great pianist and model yourself on. Okay, so what did they do? How did they think? What was their daily routine? How much did they practice every day? And so on. Because that's a good model. You wouldn't model yourself on a rock guitarist if you want to be a great pianist. That would be silly. You're obviously never going to then become the great pianist. So similarly, model yourself. If you want to become a spiritual master, model yourself on a great spiritual master.
Yeah.
Because nothing else is really going to work, which is exactly what he said. Model yourself on me. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. only way to the Father is through me. But of course, that got misinterpreted, and the church put their own spin on that. And then, probably the translation was, well, he wouldn't have said that in English. He would have said it in Aramaic. So what did he actually say in Aramaic?
Yeah.
Did he say that, or was that misinterpreted, mistranslated?
Yeah.
We don't know. You have to go and study the original Aramaic, and I'm not sure they even have those original Aramaic scriptures. I think there aren't really any Aramaic scriptures. They got translated into Greek and Latin, and so those are the scriptures, the oldest scriptures that have survived.
Mm.
Okay. Anyway, moving on from that. So been through some of the metaphysics of it. Metaphysics of truly letting go, forgiving, are pretty mind-blowing. Once we understand what you're trying to do, like I said to this guy today, so what you're doing is you're letting go of your self-concept, your whole identity, who you think of as yourself. And he went, "Whoa, that's big." And yeah, it is. It's not a small undertaking, but that's what we're being asked to do. So it's literally mind-blowing. It's going to blow the ego mind out of your mind. It's going to blow it up and restore the truth via the mechanism of the Holy Spirit, changing your perception about everyone and everything. So that it does take some time. I say, yeah, but don't worry. You're still young. There's time. Just don't squander it for 20 years, because then you've lost 20 years, and it gets harder as you get older. But eventually, everyone suffers enough at some point to want to change. There isn't a human being who's ever lived who hasn't gone, you know what, I'm kind of done with this. I'm so tired of this. I need a change. I need another way.
Yeah.
We've all had that. The ones who take that seriously and follow it are the ones who then start awakening. The ones are like, oh well, I'll eat, drink, make merry, cover up that, and just pretend that it's not there. They stay stuck, because you never journey through the negativity, through the darkness, to get to the light. So it's all pretty mind-blowing. And the truth is, you can't understand this with the ego or belief in separation and scarcity that made up the illusion of space-time to obscure this transcendent reality, which is a truth that Einstein also expressed wonderfully succinctly in this simple sentence. So there's our friend Einstein again. Probably my favorite quote from him, actually, apart from the other one. The other one is longer, but this is so brilliantly succinct. So if you can read that kindly, if you're not doing anything else.
I can read it between mouthfuls. So the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were at when we created them.
Brilliant insight into the mind.
Yeah.
So he became a great philosopher. Most of these quotes are philosophical, spiritual by nature. He's not talking about scientific principles. He's talking about how the mind operates, and how we can solve problems. He just got there to the same place probably as someone like Carl Jung got to, just via a different path. He's a great thinker. They all arrive at the same, a similar understanding of truth. I don't think Einstein fully awakened to. If we go to Hawkins' model of consciousness, he wasn't up here at enlightenment, but he was certainly at reason, high level understanding, reason, wisdom, by the end of his life. These quotes are profound. Did he get to love according to the scale? No, but who knows? According to Hawkins, he was at 499. So love then becomes a feeling more than thinking. It's not rational. It goes into feeling and emotion, and much more irrational than the reasoning is about the highest your intellect can take you. But that just prepares you for surrendering that, and surrendering to these lovely stages: love, joy, peace, ultimate enlightenment. Just amazing. And at that, this is the domain of spiritual masters, yogis, mystics, etc. You got to go beyond cognitive reasoning to get there. It's a feeling, just resting in, when the Course says I rest in God, it means you rest in peace and joy.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back here. So we see again that significant problems we face cannot be solved. The same level of thinking we had when we created them speaks directly to the levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
At this level, let's say you're at pride or anger, you can't solve the problems that you've created at that level with that level of thinking. It's kind of logical. It's obvious. You have to transcend the level. You have to go up and raise your frequency. And when you go into courage and neutrality and willingness, then you can start solving those problems.
Yeah.
Which is why, if someone is stuck at a certain level, let's say our favorite friend, Donald Trump, let's say he's in pride and anger, you're never going to solve those problems within that state of consciousness. The only way is to transcend it.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to do that. So someone else has to come in and transcend that, ultimately, hopefully replace him as president, which will happen in the next 3 years or whatever it is. And then some of the problems that have been created at that level of thinking can be resolved if someone is resonating on a high frequency.
Yeah.
So brilliant quote, really. Always something I remind myself of quite often. It's just really the call. So saying exactly what the Course is saying. The problems are not outside of you; they're within you. They're in your thinking. They're in your perception, and then that gets externalized, and you now think that the problem is outside.
Yeah.
But it's actually it's the level of thinking at which you're stuck that's the problem. But the Course is saying, but you can change that by this one singular practice of forgiveness or letting go. You can actually change that. Thank God. So what Yeshua's done, because this principle is true, is he's given us a very in-depth mind training course to help us raise the level of our thinking to a high level that's what we call above the battleground. Quote. But that's a direct quote from the text. Above the battleground of space-time, as he calls it in the Course. So we can start to perceive everything in this world differently and experience love, peace, and joy, because he knows that full understanding of the truth will dawn on our minds when we have this universal experience of what true reality feels like. But like any good teacher, he must meet us at the level of understanding we're at when we start the course. Otherwise, he's going to lose us. That's always in a state of not fully understanding the truth and experiencing love, peace, and joy, as he tells us quite reassuringly in the introduction to the workbook. So if you can read that little intro kindly, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Remember only this: you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept them, and you need not even welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter or decrease their efficacy, but do not allow yourself to make exceptions in applying the ideas the workbook contains, and whatever your reactions to the ideas may be, use them. Nothing more than that is required.
Just take baby steps.
Mm.
And that's all you have to do. Quite simple. Paint by numbers, just follow the instructions.
Yeah.
And if you follow the instructions, you'll be learning the course.
Yeah.
How much simpler do you want it?
Mm.
We overthink things. We think, no, it's difficult, or I've got to understand it all at once. But he's not telling us that.
Yeah.
A lot of the ideas you won't accept, you won't understand, you won't accept,
Mm.
you won't welcome them. Saying it doesn't matter, just practice them. Just whatever you're thinking about them, just do the practice.
Yeah.
Because the more you do that, the more likely it is that the ideas do start to make sense to you. So they're breaking down the ideas along the mind training, or breaking down your ego's defenses, so that you can start to awaken to the truth that's buried beneath them, that they want to keep you away from. So the easy way to do the course and get the maximum benefit from it possible is simply practice the workbook lessons by following his instructions and allow the universal experience of truth, as Yeshua calls it in A Course in Miracles, to arise automatically in your mind. Right. So if you do it and you practice diligently, and I'm not just talking, 1 week or two, it's like, okay, do it for a year, and then just rinse and repeat. That's what I've been doing for 20 years. Just keep doing it, because it's just your daily reminder. It's your daily practice of being vigilant. And then you've got the meditations and the breath breaks to guide you through the practice periods. If you find that helpful and reading is a bit of a strain, you can just listen. So all you need to do is put the recordings on and listen, and then just follow the instructions. And well, I mean, I couldn't, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Doing the Course in Miracles, Yeshua, and what I've done for Arts of Letting Go, it's I've tried to make it really, really straightforward, paint by numbers. You just do this, and you're gonna start getting benefit, no doubt. So I want to ask, Bachi, are you using those meditations on the course and the breath breaks to practice the lesson, or not really?
Sometimes, not all the time, but
yeah. So they're a tool. If you try and use them more consistently and you get into a habit, then that consistency is going to help you to get more firmly entrenched in the ideas. Yeah. And the more you do it, if I think of my own, I mean, I just drilled it into myself, man. I just over and over and over again. When I was learning this course, I'd listen to it, I'd read it, I'd listen to it when I was walking the dog. I'd put the Course in Miracles on for like the entirety of the walk, an hour and a half, and I'd just listen to the text, to the workbook, only the text actually. It's over, and it's something seeps in. It just starts going in.
Yeah.
And then you start accepting it as, yeah, that's the framework, that's true. And now I just take that for granted. Yeah, well, of course it's true. There's no resistance to the idea, but it wasn't always the case. When you start after these ideas, there's a huge resistance. Part of your mind's like, no, that can't be. You're skeptical, you doubt. You're like, nah, because your ego's terrified. Let's face it, it doesn't want to know the truth. It's like, oh my God, it's getting close to the truth. Okay, no, whatever you do, don't go there. But then your Holy Spirit's getting excited, going, oh, okay, finally, you're starting to listen. I've been knocking on the door for a long, long time. You haven't listened. Finally, you're starting to listen. Thank God for that. It took quite a while. It took, a lot of often pain and suffering, but mission accomplished. If you start listening, then that's what the pain and suffering were for. So this experience that I'm describing, love, peace, joy, is the experience, universal experience all the saints, the mystics, gurus, masters, and avatars who've ever lived have experienced and described. It's the universal experience. So it's crazy to put them on a pedestal and make their accomplishments seemingly unattainable for a mere mortal like yourself in your mind, because they were just human. They were just exactly what you are, a human being wanting to awaken. But they followed that. They were just disciplined in their pursuit of that. And the self-discipline then brought them the mastery. And we go, oh, you're so amazing, you're a master. I could never be like you. No, just do what they did, practice. And become a master in anything. Practice, practice, practice. And then you can. But very few people, in my experience, are willing to do the practice. Say, okay, I'm just going to do what's required. I mean, it's the same in life. Not everyone becomes a champion golfer or tennis player. or whatever, paddle player, if I've been playing paddle. No, it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of self-discipline. It's just practice, 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 and not everyone wants to do that. Well, then don't expect to achieve that level of mastery if you don't practice. We kind of know that. It's like, duh. You say to the average week in the woods by, just doing what you're doing, hitting the ball around the course maybe once a week and practicing for an hour or two a week. You're never going to attain a mastery level. They're going to, yeah, well, of course I know that.
Yeah.
So why do we expect it to be different with enlightenment?
Yeah.
Just like a bit of random spiritual practice isn't going to do it. It's like, no, serious, disciplined, every day, get into a routine, do it daily, just like a professional golfer would. They practice probably 6 days a week for 5 or 6 hours a day, at least. It's that level. So, okay, practice every day. We're not saying you have to do 5 or 6 hours, fortunately, but maybe an hour or two, daily repeated practice. Then you start making some progress. Then you start realizing that this state of awareness is in me already. I can feel it. It's the same awareness that these masters had. And it's coming to you because you wanted it, and you're willing to do the work to get it, to practice until it starts arising in your mind. But that idea of putting spiritual teachers on a pedestal, Alan Watts actually has a great word for it. He called it pedestalize. I'm not sure that is actually an English word, but he made it up. Pedestalize. You put them on a pedestal. So then they become unattainable. What a sneaky trick of the ego.
Yeah.
To keep you from doing what it takes to learn the truth for abundance. And the classic with that, probably, where it's been done the most is in Christianity. We pedestalize Jesus. We say, oh, he's the Son of God. He's the only Son of God. You can't ever be like that. He was born divine. There's only one of him. He died for our sins. What a load of bollocks. What a lie. That is one of the greatest lies. Because he even said, you will do these things that I've done and even greater things. So, the church's teaching for 2,000 years contradicts what he said. And it's in their own scriptures. It's there for all to read.
Yeah.
But these contradictions don't get noticed. For some reason, people just overlook them. Oh, well, I don't understand. It's a great mystery. But my pastor knows. And someone was telling me this morning, he said, it was yesterday. He said, hey, there's a guy here. He's a multi-millionaire. He's a pastor, multi-gazillionaire. He owns his own private jet, from religion. Now he's got to fly to his, he can't just catch a normal commercial airline. That would be, beneath him. So he's got to have his own private jet to fly around the country to minister to the needy. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's always been the case. The people will use that power for unscrupulous gain. That's why religion, honestly, was formalized. It's power and it's money, control and money.
Yeah.
And if you can control people's beliefs, then you can make a very, very, very good living. You get 1,000 people and you control their beliefs. You're made, because they'll do what you want them to do, won't you?
Yeah.
But it's not awakening. It's not putting the power in their hands. It's not empowering them. It's just enslaving them to another dogma, giving them false hope, and then off you fly on your private jet. Cheers, then I'm off. Bye. Well, extraordinary. But I mean, you couldn't make it up. It's so laughable. You have to go, that's just a bad joke. But it happens. There's the ego for you.
Yeah.
So all of these masters were mortal in their last lifetimes, and they had to face and overcome the same blocks to the awareness of this truth or abundance presented by the ego's or belief in separation and scarcity, as you do. Exactly the same blocks. That wasn't easy for them. Maybe you could argue we're more tempted today. Maybe we've got more temptation with more electronic devices, instant gratification. Maybe that's an argument. But then they had a lot more suffering. There's a lot more of other temptations. The temptation to think that you had a totally, thoroughly awful life would have been quite great. You imagine you're born into poverty, you live in a hovel, You've got no prospect in a very class-oriented society, let's say ancient India or the Middle Ages. You've got no prospect of really bettering yourself. You're going to live as a peasant and die as a peasant. I mean, what's there to be excited about, really? At least today, we have a lot more freedom. We have a lot more capacity. We have a lot more potential to, okay, yes, if I really want to, no matter where I come from, I can make changes in my life, my thinking, and I can live a life that I've chosen rather than a life that I'm condemned to. Anyone can do that now. Even if you come from the poorest home, there's a pathway for anyone to do that.
Yeah.
Which hasn't always been the case.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. So we have exactly the same potential to understand and know the truth or abundance. The truth is abundance, right? That's why I'm translating it. The truth or abundance, experientially, as they did. It's that abundant life that Yeshua talked about. Something Yeshua confirms explicitly in this quote from section 2 of chapter 1 of the text. So if you can read that for us.
There is nothing about me that you cannot attain. I have nothing that does not come from God. The main difference between us as yet is that I have nothing else. This leaves me in a state of true holiness, which is only a potential in you.
Yeah. He's just reflecting what I said, that Bible verse. You'll do these things that I've done and even greater things. This is just saying it in another way. You can attain all of those. You can do everything I did. The only difference is that Yeshua's done it and you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. So he's in a state of holiness. That's a potential in us. And our job while we're here is to actualize that potential and fulfill that potential, just as he did. He wasn't always there when he was younger. I mean, there's no doubt he was an advanced soul, but he had work to do. He had lessons to learn. He had to go and learn and grow, and a lot of discipline, many, many thousands of hours of spiritual practice, I'm sure. And then, voila, you've got the Christ, you've got the Messiah. Well, that didn't just happen. That happened with much, much, much practice, which was never recorded. Again, why did they take out 13 years of his development in the Bible? It's interesting. Why would you? Why wouldn't you tell the whole story? Deliberate, because if we tell people how he did it, then they might figure out how to do it themselves, you see.
Yeah.
If we tell them that he was human and he had to grow and develop and he had to learn these lessons and he wasn't born divine, then that undermines our story. So we won't tell the story of how he did it, because then people might go, oh, well, if he did it, so can I. Oh, you've given a detailed account. Like, why didn't you give us a few chapters of that? Okay, so this is what he did. Maybe he went to India. Maybe he learned meditation. Maybe he hung out with the Essenes. Maybe he went and he studied some of the Greek stuff in Greece. Or, maybe he just studied it all from his homeland. Maybe he didn't leave home, but it came to him because there were travelers and so on. We don't know. There's lots of speculation. But you can be sure he was well versed. He was a scholar of his time. He was well versed in the Judaic tradition. He would have understood Hinduism, Buddhism. He understood the Greek philosophy. He was a scholar of his time. He would have understood all of it. That didn't just happen. That was years and years of study, preparation, and then he would have been doing spiritual practices, breathing, meditation, etc., to really experience it. But they didn't. It's diabolical. They didn't tell us. You cut out the most important part. How did he do it? You don't give us the how-to. You just give us the end result and go, there. Isn't he so amazing? He's so much better than you. Worship him. As one of my friends once said, blasphemy. That's blasphemy. You made him into a demigod, and he's not. He's just the same as you. He just actualized his potential. That's all. And he's saying to us, well, you can do the same thing. It's not your potential for holiness, which is pure formless awareness or abundance in alternative language, but only your willingness to experience the truth of who you are that is different from a spiritual master's like Yeshua. It's just willingness. The masters are just more willing than you are. It's as simple as that. Well, you can choose to be willing if you want to. Because the more you do the practices, the more willing you become. Starts off as like, okay, well, I'll do a bit, I'll give it a go. And then, if you keep on it, like, okay, but I can feel myself shifting and changing. I can feel something stirring inside of me, and things start to move in my life, and I'm not as fearful as I was, and synchronicities start happening, and then your willingness increases because you get the results. The miracles are there to show you that your willingness is paying dividends, and that you should need to keep going because you're on the right track. Heaven ahead, 10 kilometers, keep going. It's a signpost. Uh, uh, and that's why it's called a Course in Miracles. A course in making internal corrections, because that's how we translate a miracle. But a miracle is also a signpost. That's the outer manifestation of it. The correction internally, but then it manifests in a signpost externally, which shows you that you're on the right track. And he uses the word miracles in both contexts. That's why sometimes people get confused. A miracle correction, yeah, from an internal upper left quadrant perspective, that's what a miracle is. So let's look at integral model. A miracle, upper left, subjective I, interior individual I, is that's a subjective experience of the miracle. It's internal. It's a correction of your mind. But the external objective effect is what we call a miracle. Okay, it's a synchronicity. It's something changes. Your body changes. You meet someone. Something happens. That's observable. It has observable, quantifiable effects. So he uses the word in both senses. He talks about a miracle as an internal correction, but he also talks about the miracle as the external manifestation of that correction. It's important to understand that there's those two elements to it. As within, so without. If you don't do the correction, then you're unlikely to get the miracle. Sometimes, by grace, sometimes people get the miracle. And then it can create a shift, which then leads to the internal change. Sometimes that can happen. But that is what we call grace. It's like, well, I didn't really do anything. Maybe I was asking. Usually there's been some internal shift. You've asked a question. I qualify, actually. I think there's always something, isn't there? Grace comes in response to something internally that's shifted. Even if it's just like, I'm so desperate, or I'm so done with this. Help. Okay. You made a request that was sincere. All right, then something shifts. You're not vibrating yet at a very high frequency, but you've asked. So you've asked for something to shift you, to show you a higher reality. And when you ask, you receive. As Jesus said, ask and you receive, and you'll receive. Seeking you'll find, knock and the door will be open. That's what he meant. You'll be shown the way. You'll be given the signposts so that you can take the next step on your journey. And that's why it's called a Course in Miracles. That's why miracles are so important, because without the signpost, you'd get lost. You'd forget your way. You never find your way home. Okay, so if you can just read that little bit. This is from workbook lesson 9, where he talks about how your willingness is going to increase the more you do experience it by practicing the workbook lessons daily.
However, understanding is not necessary at this point. In fact, the recognition that you do not understand is a prerequisite for undoing your false ideas. These exercises are concerned with practice, not with understanding. You do not need to practice what you already understand. It would indeed be circular to aim at understanding and assume that you have it already.
Yeah. Again, so logical. Well, why would you need a course if you already understood what the course is teaching? You don't need to go and do a university degree and whatever if you've already got the degree. You've already done it. You've done the course. This is for people who don't understand. As with any learning, we have to go through a process of struggling a bit, growth, in order to learn and understand. But a lot of course students are like, well, I don't get it, so I'm not doing the course properly. That's crazy. Of course, you're not going to get it straight away. That's why you need the course. That's why it's 365 lessons and you've got 670 pages of text and a manual for teachers and supplements, because he knows you're not going to get it straight away. It's almost guaranteed that you're not going to get it on the first lesson. Nothing real can be threatened. I mean, who can really understand it? Nothing real can threaten, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. No one understands that. When you read that, you're like, what? What is he saying? What does that actually mean? No, actually, to really understand that, you have to be enlightened. And you're not enlightened yet. To the perfectly enlightened, that would make perfect sense. They just, of course, and get it completely. It's the unenlightened who this course is for. So he's saying that practice makes perfect. You ultimately come to fully understand the message he's teaching in both the lessons and the text, which is that you are pure forms of awareness of perfect love, or this abundance, this abundant life itself, and nothing else. In time, if you're just willing to keep practicing. That, you remember back to the Art of Lingo masterclass, I talked about the way of mastery and the way of the cross. Do you remember that? This is the way of mastery. Those who are disciplined, self-disciplined, willing to practice. Yeah, there's a degree of pain, if you like, in self-discipline. You've got to give up some of the goodies the ego wants to give you. But that is a very minor pain compared with the pain of resistance and just endless suffering without a hope of salvation. So again, choose your pain. Your way of mastery, yes, there's going to be some pain. Any one who's ever achieved anything worthwhile will tell you, it wasn't all fun. There was some times that were difficult, and you had to dig in and you had to persevere. And it wasn't all like wonderful, pleasant experience, but overall it was worthwhile. So this is a difference. Someone was actually Troy, my friend I was talking about. He was talking about dopamine versus serotonin. And it's fascinating. So dopamine is short term. You get a little dopamine hit when you scroll social media, when you watch a movie, you watch porn, you take a drug that stimulates dopamine, you watch TV, all these short term. You get a quick fix. But then it's very short lived, then you need another hit and another one. So you get caught up in the dopamine cycle of, okay, well, I need to constantly seek pleasure in something external to me. Serotonin is more of a long term. Okay, I get pleasure from being disciplined. I get pleasure from working at something, and it doesn't come immediately. But then when I get a breakthrough, there's this feel good feeling. It's not as quick, short release, but it's much more sustainable. Which then ties in with the teachings of the course and all great spiritual teachings. They're essential. If you want to put it in biochemical terms, they're saying let go of the seeking dopamine hits and invite serotonin instead. Long-term, sustainable, disciplined practice, and you get something that dopamine can't give you because it's short-term. It's a long-term sense of I feel worthy. I feel like I've achieved something. Even if the results don't necessarily show that at the time, in your own heart and mind that you grow. You can feel it, and that's what makes it worthwhile. You're like, well, I know that despite what it looks like on the outside, my life might seem to be a car crash, but it's not, because I'm learning and I'm growing, and I'm learning to know myself, thyself.
And other people notice it as well.
Yeah, those who are on a similar journey, will notice it, and even those who are not, they're like, oh, you've changed a bit. You're a bit, strange, maybe. But we're like, what's up? People who are not awakening will be like, okay, something shifted, and they feel a bit more nervous around you because they don't understand it. So you see that you polarize. One of the 3 symptoms of enlightenment that Carl Jung talked about was that polarization effect. You polarize people. So they're either going to go, oh, wow, amazing. Tell me more. This is great. I want to share your energy, share your space. And, you see that with gurus all around the world. People flock to them because they like their energy.
Yeah.
They want to hang around them, which, of course, has been used and abused, as we know. But if it's authentic, and you find like someone like Yeshua, why did he have disciples who gave up everything, family, friends, businesses, jobs? They gave up everything. Why did they give up everything to just hang around him?
Mm.
Because the energy was just amazing. It must have been incredible
Yeah.
to be around someone that awakened, and then to see what he could do, and just to be part of the whole vibe of what he created. I mean, just it must have been extraordinary. So they were willing to give up everything else for that.
Mm.
Same idea. Um, just keep practicing, and you can go there as well. No, they weren't masters without a lot of work.
Mm.
It was the self-discipline to keep doing the work that ultimately got them there. And everyone says, "Oh, you're a master. You're the son of God. We put them on a pedestal." It's like you didn't see the hours and hours, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours that went into the making of that.
Mm.
Just like you watch someone on TV winning Wimbledon. Yeah, it all looks great, but you haven't seen the thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of training that have gone into it. You don't see that. You just see that I'm winning the cup, but not like, yeah, I'm tired. Like I've been hitting a ball for 5 hours already, and now I've got to go do a gym session afterwards. You don't see that. Yeah. So it's doing the hard yards. It's going, okay, I'll do the regular practice, even when I don't feel like it, even when it's not always uh, nice. What I find though is the resistance gets less. Like the practice, it's going to put you in a different state of mind. It's going to raise your energy.
Yeah.
So it actually becomes self-rewarding. You're like, this morning, like I had to get up quite early. I hadn't enough sleep. And I'm like, no, although I'm really busy, I could skip my meditation. I'm going to go back to bed. I had to move places. I did that. And I'm like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do my meditation
Mm.
because it sets me up for the day.
Yeah.
Because it's the most important thing I do in
Yeah.
the whole day, probably. So if I miss that, then I miss the most important thing I'm going to do, which
Mm.
isn't really very sensible. But
Mm.
it's that commitment, that's only come in time. It's like realizing the importance of it and making it a priority
Yeah.
in your life. And that's what he's asking us to do by practicing his course in little baby steps. Just get a little bit more disciplined every week. And by
Mm.
the end of the year, you're like, oh, okay, actually, I've come a long way. Compared with when I started, I've come a long way. And then you do it a second year, and you go, okay, I'm just getting even more into it, and so on. If you keep on it, you're training yourself to align with this frequency more and more, and then it just starts to become second nature. Yeah, well, of course, now I don't question the teachings, and I don't. It's just, forgiveness, let it go. But it wasn't always that way. Before you get triggered, and then you're like, oh, I'm trying to solve, you wrestle with things. Now it's like, just let it go.
Mm.
That's just years and years of practice,
Mm.
which anyone can do with the willingness. That's the message. With the willingness, anyone can do this. You just got to be willing. There's no major qualification. You don't have to be a super genius, some kind of born an enlightened avatar. You just have to be willing to do the work, just like with anything else. You want to become a great anything in this world, you got to be willing to do the work
Mm.
to get there. It's no different. All right, so that leads us, I think, nicely into our lesson. We've talked a bit about corrections, and we talked about grievances. So let's dive into our lesson, shall we? So where are we? Lesson 78. There we go. Let miracles replace all grievances. Okay, so shall I read the one, you read the other? Which one would you like to read? Want to read the alternative or the original?
I'll read the original, please.
Okay, so start from the top with the key idea.
Let miracles replace all grievances.
I let corrections replace all my grievances. So very active, changed it so it's I let
Mm.
becomes personal. Corrections, because that's what a miracle really is, when it's spoken in the internal sense, and this clearly is referring to internal because a grievance is internal. So the miracle is the internal correction, but that may lead to an external shift. So the circumstances of your grievance may then shift because of the internal correction that you've undertaken, and replace all my grievances, because there's a possessive there, because these are your grievances.
Yeah.
You've chosen them. You've nurtured them, sometimes for years and years and years. You know, they're your babies. If you're honest about it, these are your babies, and you love them. The ego loves them, and of course, it's just the Holy Spirit is saying, just let it go, man. Just let the baby go, because it's not serving you. The grievance will never ever serve you. All right, so let's go to number 1 then. And you want to read the original?
Yep, I'll read the original. Perhaps it is not yet quite clear to you that each decision that you make is one between a grievance and a miracle.
Perhaps it is not yet quite clear to me that each decision that I make is one between a grievance and a correction.
Each grievance stands like a dark shield of hate before the miracle it would conceal.
Each grievance stands like a dark shield of hate before the correction it conceals.
And as you raise it up before your eyes, you will not see the miracle beyond.
And as I make it real in my perception, I will not perceive the correction beyond it.
Yet all the while it waits for you in light, but you behold your grievances instead.
Yet all the while it waits for me in true awareness or abundance, but I perceive my grievances instead. And then from the top in the alternative.
Perhaps it is not yet completely clear to me that each decision that I make is one between a grievance and a correction. Each grievance stands like a dark shield of hate before the correction it conceals. And as I make it real in my perception, I will not perceive the correction beyond it. Yet all the while it waits for me in true awareness or abundance, but I perceive my grievances instead.
Such a simple paragraph, but so profound. What he's saying is just so spot on.
Yeah.
You make it real in your perception, your grievance becomes real. There's no correction then. You just, in the ego, it's not a nice place to be. You don't feel at peace, don't feel happy. And there's no way out, because the grievance stands like a dark shield of hate.
Yeah.
For the correction it conceals. It blocks the awareness of love and peace and joy. And for no other reason, you should let it go. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
If you hold a grievance, you're not going to be in unconditional love and peace and joy, which is your pure formless awareness of perfect love. You're going to be in a contracted, restricted state, which is part of the helpless, enervated little life of lack, limitation, fear, doubt, grief, guilt, sin that the ego wants you to live.
Yeah.
So why would you choose that? And then it makes so much sense. You're not forgiving anyone for them. You're letting go of what's keeping you in hell. It's as simple as that. You hold a grievance, the other person doesn't suffer, you suffer. Because you cut yourself off from your true awareness. So that's why there's no exceptions. Every grievance, no matter how seemingly justified on the level of form, keeps you in hell. The state of it, believing you're a helpless, innovative little life of victimhood and suffering. You're living that. It's so simple. But, it's taken me a long time to figure it out and really accept it. And the translation of forgiveness to letting go is really helpful in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because if I forgive you, what does that mean? I forgive you for what you've really done. I can't do that. You've done something terrible. How can I forgive you for what you've done? That's an awful thing to do.
Yeah.
So what are you saying? I'll just condone that? That you're off the hook? Nah, can't do that. This is where people struggle.
Yeah.
Because I forgive you. You've done it to me. I must now forgive what you've done to me. No, wrong perspective of it. No wonder you can't do it. because you've externalized and you said it's happened to me and it's outside of me and this person is real and you've made it real in your perception. Then how do you forgive what you've made real?
Mm.
But if you just go, well, this is just my own internal block to the awareness of love's presence showing up in this form, and I just need to let go of that internal feeling because that's the block to my awareness of love's presence, which I really and truly want above all else, then I'm willing to let it go because it doesn't, I'm not really concerned about the other person at all. They don't matter. What matters is my internal state of mind.
Mm.
And then once I've let go, then I restore my mind to a state where I can actually see them in their true light and see that they are the same as me. And they just maybe don't know that yet. They're confused, which is why they have behaved that way. But it doesn't have to affect you. You can just, whatever someone's done, it's your choice to allow it to affect you or not.
Yeah.
That's why grievance is never justified. So you have 100% responsibility for how you perceive things. You can't know, you can't be in control of what's happening to you all the time. And most of the time you're not. But you do have control, absolute control over how you perceive whatever is happening to you.
Yeah.
And that's the Stoic philosophy. That's now in the course. That's the perennial philosophy. It's the wisdom of the ages.
Mm.
So simple. But how many people get this? How many people live their life that way?
Yeah.
So few. It's astonishing because it's such an obvious insight, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we live in the information age, all this information and knowledge, and yet the most important thing to learn, no one knows.
Yeah.
How bizarre is that?
Mm.
And we
Yeah.
live in the information age. That is if someone said to me, what is the one thing you teach someone? That's what I teach them
Yeah.
to start with.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can control always. You are responsible 100% for your response to anything.
Yep.
And if you just apply that without exception to every situation in your life, you will change your life. It's a guarantee. That's the one thing you've got to do. You've got to know, and then you've got to take action on that, which is forgiveness.
Yeah.
But the ego knows that, and so it does everything possible to avoid people knowing that. Because if they know that simple truth, then it's the beginning of the end for it.
Yeah.
And so it sets up all these defenses to stop people from being aware of that, and all these justifications for blaming someone or something outside of them.
Yeah.
It's a master at that.
Yeah.
That's why the world is set up the way it is. That's why things don't work here, because you have to have the excuse for a grievance. You have to have the middlemen that traffic in grievances.
Mm. Mm.
That's how it goes. And what else would you expect in prison? That's what goes on in prison, right? It's an unhealthy environment. All this trafficking goes on
Yeah.
because the ego made up the whole environment. So your best bet is just escape the whole environment.
Mm.
All right, should we go on to number 2 then? Do you want to switch it? Shall I read the original?
Yep. Let's switch it.
So today we go beyond the grievances to look upon the miracle instead.
Today I go beyond my grievances to perceive the corrections instead.
We will reverse the way you see by not allowing sight to stop before it sees.
I will reverse the way I perceive by not allowing my perception to stop before it perceives truly.
We will not wait before the shield of hate, but lay it down and gently lift our eyes in silence to behold the Son of God.
I will not wait before the shield of hate, but let it go and gently lift my eyes in silence to perceive the extension of perfect love or abundance truly.
And then from the top,
Today I go beyond my grievances to perceive the corrections instead. I will reverse the way I perceive by not allowing my perception to stop before it perceives truly. I will not wait before the shield of hate, but let it go and gently lift my eyes in silence to perceive the extension of perfect love or abundance truly.
let's change that to raise my perception.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a frequency, lift your eyes. That's just a metaphor. It's about raising your perception. So you're perceiving on a different level,
Yeah.
perceiving from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And that's what we call vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
It translates into, I've got to change my mind. I've got to change my perception. As
Mm.
soon as I do that and I'm willing to, I see that this is all in me. It's a projection of my own mind, and I'm willing to let it go.
Mm.
You've just massively raised your perception and your frequency with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That simple shift. But it's simple, but it's not easy. How
Mm.
many people can just do that?
Mm.
Yeah, okay, I'll just let it go. Very, very few.
Mm.
Unless you've had some serious spiritual training, most
Mm.
people can't do it.
Yeah.
Because the ego is wounded and it's very strong and it's very powerful and persuasive. And unless you have a disciplined practice to undo that, that runs the show.
Yeah.
Which is why we go through these lessons over and over and over again. We practice every day
Mm.
because it's a very, very deep-seated thought system that we're trying to undo.
Yeah.
So, but the good news is practice makes perfect. So
Yeah.
when I got hold of this
Yeah.
course, I was like, wow, this is incredible. I wasn't scared of hard work. I'd done a lot of work when I was a pro squash player. I've always worked on. I'm like, okay, I can actually apply myself and I can learn this.
Mm.
Well, what are you waiting for? Just get busy. It
Yeah.
might take 10 years or 20 years, but there's not a day to lose because
Mm.
every day you wait is a day where you could have been shifting and learning and growing and letting go of your grievances and actually experiencing some peace and love and joy instead of the dreadful grievances that are there to replace them.
Mm. So when you started studying the course, then Jonathan, did you study on your own, or were you part of did you have a teacher, or?
No, I started pretty much on my own. I someone recommended the book. Well, I got curious about the book, and when I realized it was the teachings of Jesus, and I was in a bookshop, I heard about it. I was like, okay, well, I've kind of finished. I was an avid reader at that point. I was reading a lot of different books,
Mm.
spiritual books mostly. I was like, okay, well, this will be my next read. And I suppose in my mind, it was just another book.
Mm.
Okay, I'm going to read that. I've read all sorts, Life, Power of Now, the Conversation with God series.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East, the Urantia book, etc. Some of them are, the Urantia book's huge.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I'm really curious, and okay, well, another book, I'll read it, but I didn't know at that point that it would become my spiritual path.
Mm.
So that unfolded over years. And I just I studied it myself, and then I started teaching it
Mm.
because someone made a request. I was like, okay, well, I can run a group.
Mm.
Why not? I know probably know more than they do, so that's all the qualification. Then it was a bit like spiritual. Yeah, well, I'm quite clever. I'm a course I'm a course teacher now, or like another identity starts developing. I guess it's a phase everyone's going to go through.
Mm.
But that had to be brutally destroyed when I came to the UK. It was like all that's got to go because I just didn't teach it
Mm.
for a long time. And then when I taught it was like just a small group, more like a discussion than me being the teacher.
Yeah.
Uh, and I've listened to the likes of David Hoffmeister and other teachers like Gary Renard. That was quite helpful. I read his books.
Yeah.
So obviously there's other teachings and influences, but I wouldn't say I ever had like, okay, that's my teacher, my guru, and I want to follow him.
Yeah.
It was more my own journey of exploration. And I suppose Jesus is my teacher, right? He's teaching you in quite a detailed way in all the lessons, all the text.
Mm.
And then it's just about, well, work with it. The more you work with it, the more the Holy Spirit starts to reveal the truth.
Mm.
And then I suppose I've taught myself because by starting this program and teaching it for hours and hours and hours,
Mm.
that is, over the last 8 years,
Mm.
one stage I was doing 2 sessions a day.
Mm.
It's like crazy. And I think back, I'm like, my goodness, that was like seriously intense. Two
Yeah.
sessions a day.
Yeah.
But just for a while I did it. So it was 11, 12 hours of continuous, sometimes 14 hours of continuous work on the course. Because I
Yeah.
was doing two sessions a day, and then I was doing my texts and emails, and I was recording audios, and it was full on.
Yeah.
But that's obviously what I needed to,
Yeah.
the ego is very deep seated, so you're going to need some serious practice to get rid of it.
Mm.
And that was all the foundational training, I'd say,
Mm.
foundational mind training. That then years later, you're like, okay, well, I am where I am because I did all that base training.
Mm.
Like just like an athlete, you do all the base training, and people are like, wow, you're amazing. Well, it's because I've done all of that hard work you didn't see,
Yeah.
years and years and years of it. So yeah, I can just get on the field or pitch or bike or swimming pool or wherever and just knock it out and just do it.
Mm.
Well, it's because it's years and years of base training. In fact, the paddle's been interesting because I haven't played squash for years,
Mm.
but it's still there. I
Mm.
can still play and hit the ball and be quite sharp actually because it's just kicks in all of those years of hitting the ball,
Mm.
however many hundreds, millions of times, just comes back and you just like do it
Yeah.
automatic. So it's the same thing. We want to groove it, repeat, so that it just becomes like, yeah, default.
Yeah.
I can just do it by
Mm.
default. That's mastery.
Mm.
That's just a matter of training and willingness.
Mm.
And that's all he's saying. Just train it.
Mm.
Just your willingness is the most important thing because your willingness will make you continue
Yeah.
and just keep going even when it's difficult and even when you feel a bit uninspired and even when you're like, oh, well, it'd be easier not to do my lesson today.
Mm.
The willingness is like, no, I'll do it anyway
Mm.
and I'll get into it and I'll overcome that resistance.
Mm.
The same way as an Olympic athlete doesn't want to get up necessarily at 5 a.m. to train every day. They just don't. Assume, oh, it's dark, it's cold, I don't want to do it. But they do it because they're like, well, I have the willingness to succeed. So, if I want to do it, then that's what I've got to do.
Mm.
All right. So yeah, in many ways, my first training in this was squash
Mm.
because I learned discipline.
Yeah.
And then I just went, oh, well, I know how to do that. So I can now just translate that into this.
Mm.
So it was all, but I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know when I was playing squash that it wasn't really about being a champion squash player. It was actually about spiritual awakening. I had no idea
Yeah.
about that. It's quite funny in hindsight.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, so we go on to number 3 then.
Mm-hmm.
You read the original.
Yeah. So he waits for you behind your grievances, and as you lay them down, he will appear in shining light where each one stood before.
My true self waits for me behind my grievances. And as I let them go, it will appear in my clearer awareness where each one stood before.
For every grievance is a block to sight, and as it lifts, you see the Son of God where he has always been.
For every grievance is a block to my true perception. And as it lifts, I will perceive the extension of perfect love or abundance as myself and as it has always been.
He stands in light, but you are in the dark.
It stands in true awareness or abundance, but I was in negative awareness.
Each grievance made the darkness deeper, and you could not see.
Each grievance made my negative awareness more limited and me more unable to perceive truly. Okay, and then from the top, if you can read that.
My true self waits for me behind my grievances, and as I let them go, it will appear in my clear awareness where each one stood before. For every grievance is a block to my true perception, and as it lifts, I will perceive the extension of perfect love or abundance as myself, and as it has always been. It stands in true awareness or abundance, but I was in negative awareness. Each grievance made by negative awareness more limited. Each grievance made my negative awareness more limited and me more unable to perceive truly.
That's a really powerful statement, that last sentence. Each grievance just strengthens this fortress of negative awareness. And so you can't perceive truly. So one grievance held and cherished blocks the entire truth.
Yeah.
And that grievance then becomes the foundation of your ego. Which is why some people can't let go of, one thing. So I can forgive everything else, but that's unforgivable.
Yeah.
Because that grievance is holding your ego intact. That's why you can't let it go.
Yeah.
Because your ego knows that if you let it go, that's it. Tickets. If you can let go of that big thing, then you can let go of anything.
Yeah.
So it stakes its life on the fact that you won't let it go.
Yeah.
No, can't forgive that. No, it's unforgivable. That person has done something that I can never forgive. Yeah, I've heard people say this.
Yeah, me too.
It's like, whoa, do you know what you're condemning yourself to?
Yeah.
Do you know what you're saying there? You're saying you'll never go back to God.
Yeah.
You'll never discover who you are. You'll never be peaceful and happy and joyful.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Wow. Okay, but they don't understand what they say. They think, no, it's fine. Hold my grievance and I'll be fine. And the other person's just guilty and that's just the way it is. And it's like, oh. But you see, he's got to educate us. He has to teach us what the consequences of our thoughts are. He's got to teach us what a grievance is and what it does. Because when you know what it does, you go, oh my goodness, that is really, this is like kryptonite. This is horrible stuff. This is not what I want to invite into my awareness. This is gonna weaken me. It's gonna enslave me. I'm never gonna escape the prison. One grievance, just one minor grievance. That could be against the weather. I keep going, oh, the weather shit. Yeah, well, that grievance is going to keep you in hell.
Yeah.
So then you start going, okay, well, I've got to clean up my act. I've got to start eliminating all the grievances. It's all or nothing here. It's an all or nothing game. You can't allow some grievances and let go of others. You start that way. But eventually you start realizing, but it has to be all encompassing. I can't hold on to some grievances and let go of some others.
Yeah.
Because I'm picking and choosing. This is one thought system, or it's the other. Grievances go with the ego, and letting go of grievances puts you into the Holy Spirit's domain and control. So, which is it? And the more you see that absolutely stark contrast, the easier this becomes. You go, well, it's this or that. It's a simple choice. Can't have both, so just make the right choice. Once you realize what the choices are, but most people don't know. You see, they're not awakened enough to know that they have a choice and to know what those choices entail.
Yeah.
So the education the course is doing, saying he has to teach us that yes, we have a choice. Every moment you have a choice. And what are those two choices? What do those choices entail? What are the consequences of each choice? Because, if we don't understand that, we'll keep making bad choices. But once you understand how dreadful choosing the ego is, you won't do it. That's just the most stupid thing I could ever do. Why would I do something so insane? It's just going to hurt me. So awareness, this awakening is preceded by awareness. You have to have the awareness of the two thought systems and the choice that you always have. Starts with that. And then almost by default, once your awareness is sharp enough, you will make the right choice. Because you realize what the choices are. You'd be like, well, am I totally stupid and insane? I'm going to choose the wrong choice. I'm literally going to choose to hit my head against a brick wall and bleed.
Yeah.
No, this isn't smart. Stop it.
Yeah.
But if you don't realize that you're doing that, then you'll keep doing it. And you'll blame the wall and go, oh, keep hurting myself. It's the wall. Like this bloody wall just it keeps hitting me. No, it's you. Look, put a mirror there. Look in the mirror. It's you. You're doing it. You have to. Well, but that's the illusion. It's trying to disguise that all the time. It doesn't want you to see that it's you who's doing it. Therefore, you can change it. Because the moment you see that, the ego's done for. It's game over. beginning of the end. It's a process still to undo it. But once you get that, then there's no turning back. You're like, oh, bing, the light just, the light switch went on. I get it. Finally, I'm actually starting to understand how it all works.
Yeah.
And once you have that understanding, why would you choose the ego? There's no going back. It's like that's a totally insane megalomaniac. Yes, I'm going to invite you into my life to run my life. That's a very good choice. So then you've got to understand that by choosing a grievance, you're inviting a totally insane megalomaniac to run your life. That's what you've got to understand. It's like connecting the dots. It's like inviting Hitler to come in and direct your life. That's the equivalent when you hold a grievance. I mean, I'm stating in extreme terms, but that is actually the truth. The thought system that he expounded to its extreme, evil extreme, is the thought system you invite into your mind to run and govern your life when you hold a grievance. So why would you want to do that? Well, you really want to go down the track of murdering 6 million people? Is that what you want to do? Because that's what you do when you hold a grievance. Do you see how you've got to connect all the dots? You start connecting all the dots, you start going, oh my God, yes, if I choose a grievance, I am essentially choosing the thought system that the Nazis chose. I'm like them, just callous murdering, killing people just because you felt like it, brutal extermination of 6 million people. I mean, just horrific. That's what I'm choosing. So these negative examples can be really, really helpful because we have them. You can go, that's what you're choosing. You choose the ego, you choose that. Do you want to choose that? No, don't choose the ego. Very simple, because the ego is behind that. And all the seemingly littler things, but they're all just tips of the iceberg that if you drill down and you go to its ugly core, that's what it is. It's pain, sickness, suffering, death, misery, despair. And we just got to be grateful that we live in a world where all of that has been shown to us in graphic detail. We've had these experiences. They happen still around the world. But, something like Nazi Germany, I mean, they did a great favor to the world. What a great spiritual lesson. Now, some people will listen to this and go, oh my God, that's terrible. 6 million people died. How can you say that? Because maybe that's what we needed to wake up.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the wake up call for humanity to go, okay, no more. You know what? It's gone too far. We cannot, this ego thought system, when it's expressed in its extreme, is so evil. It's so dark that it's got to go. It's got to go. Maybe we needed that. And actually, post World War II, 60s, 70s, the awakening started happening. So it's all part of the process. You've got to go through the darkness to get to the light. Maybe that was the deepest darkness humanity's ever faced. Well, certainly in our era.
Yeah.
And that had to be then faced and overcome, and it was. And then that created the catalyst, the foundation for, okay, now that's been done. Now the world is a lot freer, and suddenly all those shackles start coming off. And then you get the 60s, people starting to, wake up, expand their consciousness, challenge existing ideas. It was all part of the process. So this is why when you understand the course, you go, everything works for good.
Yeah.
All things work for good. Some course student, I've heard even experienced teachers going, oh, I still struggle with that one.
Yeah.
How do you say, Nazi Germany was for good? How do you say Hitler was for good? Because it helped all of us realize just how horrifically bad the ego is. So then we can make the choice for the Holy Spirit. That's why it was good.
Yeah.
Not because of the pain and the suffering but maybe we needed that example in order to choose God. Because the example of the extreme opposite is so dark and so bad that no one in their right mind can choose that.
Yeah.
So, we needed that, obviously. So then, all good. Right? It's all part of the process of awakening. It's all, in fact, the Holy Spirit is behind all of it. All right. Today we will attempt to see God's Son.
Today I will attempt to perceive perfect love or abundance's extension truly.
If I can put that into full screen mode, that'd be good. We will not let ourselves be blind to him. We will not look upon our grievances.
I will not let myself be blind to it, and I will not focus on my grievances.
So is the seeing of the world reversed as we look out toward truth away from fear.
As I start perceiving the truth or abundance and denying fear, my perception of the world is reversed.
We will select one person you have used as target. Sorry, let me just, I need to just message this guy and tell him that I am not available. Give me a moment. And then I think I should just close WhatsApp. I think if you close the app, it can't ring. Is that right?
Yeah. If you close it on your laptop, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's close it. Okay, let's go back into share. Okay. Okay. So, where were we? We will
we finished 3. So
select one person you've used as target for your grievances and lay the grievances aside and look at him.
I will select one person I have used as a target for my grievances, let go of my grievances and perceive them truly.
Someone perhaps you fear and even hate, someone you think you love who angered you, someone you call a friend, but whom you see as difficult at times or hard to please, demanding, irritating, or untrue to the ideal he should accept as his according to the role you set for him.
That's a long sentence. Someone perhaps I fear and even hate, someone I think I love who angered me, or someone I call a friend but whom I perceive as difficult at times or hard to please, demanding, irritating, or untrue to the ideal they should accept as theirs according to the role I have assigned to them.
And from the top,
today I will attempt to perceive perfect love or abundance's extension truly. I will not let myself be blind to it, and I will not focus on my grievances. As I start perceiving the truth or abundance and denying fear, my perception of the world is reversed. I will select one person I have used as a target for my grievances, let go of my grievances and perceive them truly. Perhaps someone I fear and even hate, someone I think I love who angered me, or someone I call a friend, but whom I perceive as difficult at times or hard to please, demanding, irritating, or untrue to the ideal they should accept as theirs, according to the role I have assigned to them.
yeah. So he's this is one of the lessons where he gets specific. You say, okay, so pick someone.
Yeah, so there's a little
We've all
exercise.
got someone.
Yeah.
We've all got someone in our lives who uses the
Yes.
target for your grievances.
Yeah.
So pick that person, and then he goes, yeah, someone who angered you, yes, irritates you, it's difficult, hard to please, demanding, irritating, or untrue to the ideal they should accept as theirs according to the role I've assigned to them. There's the expectation. You should be behaving this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's you. There's you.
Mm.
So why should they behave the way you want them to behave?
Yeah.
And is that really a realistic expectation? Oh yeah, the whole world should behave as I think they should behave. mean, that's just, it's, when you state it like that, it's bonkers. You're like, well, obviously that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
Obviously that's going to fail.
Yeah.
Because people are, on the level of form, people are vastly different. They come from different backgrounds, they have different mindsets, different upbringings.
Yeah.
They are not the same. They didn't have the same upbringing as you.
Yeah.
They didn't have the same parents. They had different life experiences. They've had different influences. They've made different choices. They came in with a different karmic pattern. Like, how can you expect them to follow what you think they should do?
Yeah.
It's the most ridiculous expectation ever. Of course, they're not going to do what you think they should do. So give it up.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to work. Give it up. That's what he's saying. Just realize the ridiculousness of it, and to tie your happiness to that is completely insane.
Yeah.
And totally stupid, because you're never going to be happy, because no one's going to do what you want them to do. And if they do, you find one person who's kind of your lackey, they're going to resent you. They're going to secretly hate you because you're controlling them. So they might seem to, be the, the obedient wife or husband or whatever, and then one day they turn around and they explode. And then you're like, right, okay, where did all that come from? Well, that's years of repressed anger. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
So it's just not realistic. This, what he's pointing out here is like, don't expect people to behave the way you think they should, according to the role you've assigned to them.
Yeah.
It's your expectation. It's got nothing to do with reality.
Yeah.
But this is how relationships work. I have expectations, you have expectations of me, I have expectations of you. And somewhere in between, we're trying to marry our expectations. No wonder there's so many divorces, because how do you marry those expectations? How do you reconcile those expectations?
Yeah.
The only way is to start dropping them and letting them go, and just accepting people as they are. And couples who, genuinely have truly loving, happy relationships have managed to do that to an extent. Drop their expectations and go, okay, I can just accept you as you are, warts and all. I know your faults, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't judge you for that. I don't condemn you.
Yeah.
Condemnation is the biggest killer of relationships. So there's actually some interesting work. Have you heard of the Gottman Institute?
Yeah.
No, they talk of the four horsemen, and it's criticism, condemnation, stonewalling, and defensiveness. I think are the four, if I can remember right. Which signal the end of the relationship. Right? When those behaviors start to dominate, then it's like over and over again. So, well, that's the beginning of the end. And usually, of course, criticism. If someone's criticizing, the other person defends.
Yeah.
They stonewall. They go into defend attack relationship, because they're feeling attacked. They're not feeling safe. So then that's an ego, a logical ego position to go into, and very hard to avoid. Not that easy to like have the awareness. Okay, someone's criticizing me and I don't respond. But really, you shouldn't. You just go, well, that's your perception of it. Can I do? You want to perceive it that way? Okay, but there's another way of looking at it.
Yeah.
There's always another way of looking at it, and the way you look at it isn't necessarily correct. It's one perspective of it. No, I'm right. Okay, are you sure? Are you sure you're right, or you're just trying to convince yourself that you're right? Because if you're right, then I have to be wrong, and then your ego is strengthened. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Anyway. So the one to choose. Shall we switch it again? I think you're reading.
So I'll read the original.
The one to choose.
Yeah. So the one to choose. His name has crossed your mind already.
I know the one to choose because their name has crossed my mind already.
He will be the one of whom we ask God's Son be shown to you.
They will be the one of whom I ask that love's extension be shown to me.
Through seeing him behind the grievances that you have held against him, you will learn that what lay hidden while you saw him Why you saw him not is there in everyone. Let me read that again. Through
While
seeing,
you saw him not, why you did not see him is what it means.
why you saw him. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, why you saw him not is there in everyone, and can be seen.
Through seeing them behind the grievances that I've held against them, I will learn that what was hidden while I did not perceive them truly is there in everyone, and I can perceive it now.
He who was enemy is more than friend when he is freed to take the holy role the Holy Spirit has assigned to him.
They who were enemy are more than friend when I free them to take the innocent role for moments of perfect love or abundance has assigned to them.
Let him be Saviour unto you today.
I let them free me today.
Such is his role in God, your Father's plan.
This is their role in perfect love or abundance, my source's plan. Okay, and from the top.
I know the one to choose because their name has crossed my mind already. They will be the one whom I ask that love's extension be shown to me. Through seeing them behind the grievances that I have held against them, I will learn that what was hidden while I did not perceive them truly is there in everyone, and I can perceive it now. They who were enemy are more than friend when I free them to take the innocent role the remembrance of perfect love or abundance has assigned to them. I let them free me today. That is their role in perfect love or abundance, my source's plan. This is their role in perfect love or abundance, my source's plan.
Mm. So there's a totally different perspective on this person. Instead of being the person you just hate, can't stand them, they're the worst person in the world, it's terrible, how dare they, they've abused you, they've hurt you, no, they're they're exactly what you need to wake up.
Mm.
Perfect, absolutely perfect for you in your awakening. And
Mm.
all you're going to do is let them go, let go of the grievance you hold against them.
Mm.
Not say all, but you just got to change your perspective on it. Say, okay, well, this is just my ego manifesting in and through this person.
Yeah.
So evidently, whatever they're doing to me, I'm doing to myself.
Yeah.
I believe these teachings, all a projection, and they are just the means by which my ego acts out its plan to keep me as a helpless, enervated little life,
Mm.
helpless victim of an insane world. Okay, do I want to buy that plan, or am I willing to change my mind about it?
Mm.
Very, very logical. I mean, this course is so logical,
Mm.
but it just cuts through all of that emotion that the ego likes to hold.
Mm.
So the grievance is fueled by resentment, anger, bitterness. It just says that's just all ridiculous. It's not true. If you just look at it really, really clearly and logically, then this is the only way. You've got to let that go. It's
Mm.
the only way you're ever going to be free.
Yeah.
And the person who is your greatest test, i.e., you hold the greatest grievance against, is your savior. When you let that go, then everything else is fairly easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's your biggest test. So you let that go, it breaks the back of the ego
Yeah.
because nothing else can get you in the same way. And if something else comes along, and the ego tries again, you go, well, look, if I could do that, then I can also let this go.
Mm.
Because that was really, really hard, but I did it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this isn't not as hard. So I can do it. You've done it's the same idea as military training. They do really, really intense, brutal training so that it's easier in the battle.
Yeah.
Same idea. Okay, so really pick the hardest thing, really let it go. It might take you months, maybe even years to let it go. But once you've done that,
Mm.
then nothing else is going to be on the same level. So everything else is easier.
Yeah.
You've broken the back of the ego, and you've realized then by doing the hardest thing, you go, I can do it.
Yeah.
I know I can do it because I've done it before. So uh, the ego, of course, stakes its life on the fact that you won't do it.
Mm.
No, 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 that's not possible. Unforgivable. I can't do that. Oh, it's so hard. All the excuses. No, if you really, really want to, you could let it go. But do you really, really want to? That's the question.
Yeah.
How much do you want awakening? Do you want to discover God? Do you want to become who you really are? And how much do you want to remain separate? That's what it comes down to. And then you see it comes down to that fundamental level. Remember the levels of mind diagram. What does it come down to in the end? You remember? The desire or the prayer. Do I really want to be a separate self? Or do I really want to let that go and become who I really am?
Yeah.
In the end, that's the choice. That's what every situation, every grievance comes down to.
Yeah.
What do I want to?
Yeah.
Which is why that's at the very core. That's the core decision, which is the decision to be one or a separate self.
Yeah.
So you correct it at the very core of like, what am I choosing? Because that's what we chose originally. We chose the desire to be a separate self over oneness, and that was the error. So it's got to be corrected at that fundamental level of choice in our mind, situation by situation. But now we've just got to drill through the layers of defenses above it: perception, emotion, thought, belief. We've got to drill through all of that to get there. Because it's well protected. It's the fortress of the ego, right? Because if you realize it's just a choice to be a separate self or to be oneself, well, it's not that difficult to make, right? Once you strip it down to its bare essential, it's a very, very simple choice. So the ego has to confuse you and defend that choice with its life. And so it creates all the layers of perception, emotion, thought, belief, and a whole external world to create perception, right? To create perception and stimulate the emotions and the thoughts and the beliefs, it had to create a whole alternate reality. Wow. Wow. What a mind job, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
As
I mean, that is incredible.
Cypher said in The Matrix, what a mind job. My goodness.
Yeah.
That it's gone to that extent to defend a decision that is false.
Yeah.
It's created an entire alternate reality, a universe to defend the decision to be a separate self. Just wrap your head around it. It's mind boggling.
It
When you
is.
start to get your mind,
It's
you're like,
incredible.
oh my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
that is just, but it explains everything. Now you've got a theory that explains why we live in a seemingly separate universe as bodies, why nothing works here, why people get sick and suffer and die. It explains it. Okay, well, that's why.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to be a separate self so much that we had to create an elaborate defense for that separate self and invent an alternate reality so that we could lose ourselves in this alternate reality and we could forget who we really are.
Yeah.
And only now, with great effort, do you remember, because you've gone to such great effort to forget. Crazy, isn't it? You go like,
It is. Yeah.
my goodness. But once you understand this, then you have an understanding of life, yourself, and the world, which serves you well. You run any situation through this model, and you go, yeah, okay, I can start to see what's going on. I can understand it now
Yeah.
from a different perspective. So it gives you an insight into human behavior, into your personal relationships, into what goes on a global scale that you just can't have if you don't understand this. If you're just at the perceptual level and you haven't gone deeper, nothing really makes sense.
Yeah.
It must be a terribly frightening place to be because like nothing really, it just seems to be this random, chaotic world. Well, okay, I've got to just try and survive and I've got to try and, I suppose, find some happiness, some pleasure. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I have no idea why I'm even here.
Yeah.
I have no idea why the world even exists.
Yeah.
But I'll forget about that. I'll just go to work and, go and have a drink afterwards and, forget all. I mean, but it's like I have no clue then. I have no idea why who I am or why I'm even here.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately the default state of most of humanity. No idea.
Yeah.
All right. So that leads us into the practice. There is a meditation I can guide you through. It is now 8:51 your time. You
Hmm.
said you wanted to end at 9. So do
Hmm.
you want to wrap it up here, or do you want to do a meditation for 20 minutes?
Yeah, I'd like to do a meditation actually, because that will set myself up nicely
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Did you want
Well,
to should we just read the alternative bits though, Jonathan, in
Mm.
those last two? Because we only got up to
Yeah, well, I'm going to guide you through this in a meditation.
okay. Yes, okay, that's fine.
So that,
Yeah.
there's quite a
Sure.
bit still to
Yeah.
go. So
Yeah.
because it's a practice, he's saying, no, okay, so we're going to think about this. So I'll guide you through that. So it's
Okay,
better
that's
if you go
perfect.
into calm, relaxed state and you in this sort of alpha state and then go through, what I'm going to speak to you and just
Yeah.
practice it. Bring, that person to mind who really pushes your buttons the most at the moment. I have some ideas who that might be, but maybe you have other ideas.
No,
It was like
no,
really,
that's you've got. I'm not gonna,
it's
because
that
we're
one. Yeah.
recording this. I'm not going to
Yes, it's that
meditate.
one. Yeah,
But
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah. It's that one. Yeah. So, they're perfect. Perfect opportunity to do some more work on that
yeah.
and maybe just shed another layer.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So let's go for it then. Just alrighty. So this is lesson number 78. I'm going to do a meditation on it for about 20 minutes. So just sitting comfortably, feet shoulder width apart, your back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes. Start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Clench the sphincter muscle. It's the muscle used to contract the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. Maybe you want to put one hand on your heart center. Just feel a lovely warm wave of energy rising up the spine into your heart center. And then feel like you're drawing the energy up into the crown of your head. Maximum inhale breath. Just pause at the top of the inhale. Hold the breath briefly. And now just bring this person you struggle to forgive to mind. So hold the person in mind first as you now consider them. Review their faults, the difficulties you've had with them, the pain they seem to cause you, their neglect, their defense, their hiding, their deception, their deceits, all the little and the larger ways they have seemed to hurt you. Look at their body and your mind with its flaws, maybe its better points as well. Think of their mistakes and even of their sins. Sin is just a mistake that's unforgiven. So, what are you not forgiving about what they've done? That's the sin. Just breathe in again. And now just ask the remembrance of perfect love or abundance, which knows this extension of perfect love or abundance in their reality and truth or abundance to help you perceive them a different way, perceive your savior or your awakener shining in the pure formless awareness or abundance that comes from truly letting go. And that's given to you right now. So you can exhale on the truth of that. And as you exhale, have a sense of just letting go of your judgment of this person. Letting go of the grievances, that anger, that resentment. Just release it with the breath. Feel it going, gone. If you visualize, you can visualize a dark cloud or black smoke just releasing, just being blown away with the breeze of your breath to the nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. Lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. Pause briefly in the gap between breaths. Find a exquisite sense of stillness in the gap. And you ask the remembrance of perfect love or abundance in the pure identity of perfect love or abundance and of its extension as perfectly aware as itself. Ask it this, say, I choose to perceive my Savior Awakener in this person. My source has designated as the person to lead me to the pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance, in which they love, so that I may join with them. So this person is this pure formless awareness of perfect love. Or abundance itself, abundant life itself, in which they live, so that you can join with them. When you hold a grievance against them, you say, no, I don't want to join you in this pure formless awareness of perfect love. I prefer my grievance. I prefer the feeling of my grievance, which makes me feel separate and alone, angry and upset, and disturbs my peace, but I prefer that to pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance. Understand that's the choice you make when you hold a grievance. Breathing in again. Nice deep inhale breath. Smooth inhale. Your eyes are closed. As you think of the person who apparently offended you, just let your mind be shown the pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance in them beyond your grievances. So again, breathe in. So you're breathing in the light, the love of true awareness. Feel this inner abundance, which is your own true awareness. That is beyond the grievances. There is a feeling that transcends all the limitation, all the negative awareness that a grievance entails. That anger, that resentment, feeling of contraction that you get when you hold the grievance. Beyond that lies this limitless, infinite, eternal awareness we call God, or love, or oneness. And what you have asked for cannot be denied. Your awakener has been waiting a long time for this. They want to be free just as you do, and to make their freedom your own. So as you let them go and you let go of your grievances, you free both of you. Remembrance, perfect love or abundance leans from them to me, perceiving no separation. And perfect love's extension. How can you hold a grievance if you're perfectly one? What would you hold a grievance against someone about if you are the same as them? A grievance implies that they must be separate and different from you. They've done something that can harm you as a separate self. So holding grievances means separation must be true. And what you perceive through the moments of perfect love or abundance will free you both. So be very quiet now and just perceive this person again. Look at them again, bring them to mind. See their body, their usual speech, their mannerisms. Realize that this person is your shining awakener. There are no limiting grievances. To obscure the true perception of them. I have allowed the remembrance of perfect love or abundance to express through them the role that perfect love or abundance gave them so that I may be free. So, can you see, perhaps, just entertain the idea that it was all perfect in its imperfection? Whatever this person did to you, it's all part of a plan to free your mind, to free you. If you can interpret what they have done correctly, i.e., let go of your grievances, then it's perfect in its imperfection. If you don't let go of your grievances, then it's just enslavement by the ego into its negative thought system that makes you deny who you really are. And that denial is the saddest thing. That's the entire problem with the world. It denies who you are. It tries to convince you that you're something else, something that you're not, a false self, an identity governed by time and space, bodily conditions and desires. How can that be true? When you are eternal. If you are eternal, then this simply cannot be true. So pure formless awareness of perfect love or abundance itself thanks you for these quiet times in which you let your images go, receive the correction of love, a moment's perfect love or abundance shows you in their place. The world and the state of pure formless awareness or abundance join in thanking you. Join in thanking you for every thought, perfect love or abundance. And that these thoughts must rejoice. Every thought of perfect love or abundance must rejoice as you are awakened along with the whole world. So remember, this is one awareness and one thought system that leads to this awareness. So just sink in now, just going deeper and deeper with each breath. And a sense of release, of freedom, as you let go of another layer, perhaps, of unforgiveness. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Just breathe, relax. Be still. Just observe the breath flowing in and out through your nostrils. Just settle into the quietness and the stillness. Any thoughts come in to seemingly disturb this deep peace and tranquility you should be feeling, just remind yourself of today's lesson. Just breathing, breathing in and out through your nose, getting deeper and deeper with each breath. Observing the breath and sinking deeper and deeper into this holy place, the Course calls it a state of pure, innocent awareness. Just go deeper and deeper, sink inwards. And just gently coming back now. This really deep, connected, peaceful state of awareness. An awareness of your body, the breath, the senses, and the world. On the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. So flow of air in through the nostrils. Pause at the top of the inhale. Smile. Scan your mind. Hold the breath briefly and just scan your mind. Notice again, just review this person you brought to mind. Thoughts about your grievances. Hopefully let some of them go. So exhale through the mouth. Notice how the air flows out. Chest and stomach suck back in. Follow the stomach into the spine. So as you breathe in and hold your breath briefly, just be aware sensation of the breath flowing into your nostrils. Notice what you're smelling. As you do that, maybe what you're tasting, touching and feeling, what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from a very still, calm, and surrendered state. State of oneness. So anchor the state in. Notice how you're feeling compared with the beginning of the meditation. Maybe some of that grievance energy has been released. Just feel that a little bit clearer, more peaceful, more loving, more joyful, lighter, freer. So notice this state and anchor it in. It's a state you can always be in if you choose. So it is said and so it is done. So on the count of 3, open your eyes. Just look around. Ground yourself back into this so-called reality by noticing everything in the room, but in this very clear, calm, detached way. Notice that in this clarity, in this state of awareness, there's no grievance. It's just pure awareness. Very peaceful, very light, calm, gentle, and it feels good. You want to anchor this state in, and if anything threatens this state, just say to yourself, let miracles replace all grievances, or I let corrections replace all my grievances. A statement of intent. To let go of the grievances and therefore let go of your ego. And so it is. Amen. That brings us to the end of the meditation and of the session.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Only a pleasure. Only a pleasure. Have a good week, and I'll see you on Friday.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's no time actually. It started 5 your time.
Yeah, 5 o'clock will be fine. Yeah, I'm actually heading to Stansted Airport, but I'm overnighting at a hotel at the airport because I've got
Perfect.
I've got a really early flight on Saturday morning to Perugia. So yeah.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mm.
that'll be good, actually.
Mm. Good. Okay. I'll have a flowing week in the meantime, and I hope it gets a little bit easier for you, and
Yes.
you're just
No,
able to.
I feel better already. It's funny because I was in two minds whether to, because I've got so much I need to get done before I go away. But I'm so glad that I
Yeah.
chose to actually, do this session.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mm.
that's really good. Really good.
Yeah, well, that's the benefit of a live session. It gives you a top up. It's like, doing the practice as opposed to doing like a 3 hour session and discussing, and
Yeah.
it changes your energy.
Oh, it does. And
That's,
there's so
and,
much benefit from the discussion and the interpretation and everything. So yeah, I find that really, really, really helpful.
good. Yeah, we must do our feedback on the course. But
Mm.
I'm traveling tomorrow, Wednesday
Yeah, yeah,
day
it's
possibly,
basically,
or do you want to leave it?
yeah, can we leave it until I come back from Italy? So that,
Yeah, there's no rush. It's
yeah,
I'm just going to do it for my own purposes, and
yeah,
I'll keep the recording, but just so like I really get the feedback, and it's been very valuable in years gone by because I've gone, okay,
yes.
I can, and understand something I didn't, and make some changes and take the thing in a direction I wouldn't have. Like for instance, you notice I don't do the workbook lessons in the first week
Mm,
of the course. Someone suggested that after the first course I did. He suggested that.
mm.
I was like, yeah, I get it. It's maybe just too overwhelming. You chuck someone in the deep end, and it's like, no, I've got a lesson and the text and all this other stuff. So the only problem is then the program is 53 weeks, not 52 weeks.
Yeah, yeah,
That is the only problem with it. So I have to figure that one out. I think I'm going to have to because otherwise the program just gets a week later every year. I
yeah,
don't want that to happen, and it's going to be starting in December. So I need to fix that. So I think I'm going to have to finish the last week of the Art of Letting Go program. Will be the first week of the new. And I'll have to run them concurrently for 1 week, which will be a hell of a week for me, but or heaven of a week, depending on there's a lot of work. But
yeah,
anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right, Archie. So yeah, I'll see you Friday. Have a
yeah.
have a lovely
Yes,
week in the meantime. All
yes.
right. Namaste.
You do. Thank you very much. Namaste. Bye.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So that is a wrap for today. If you enjoyed this session, a couple of things you can do to take it further. Why not hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever I go live on YouTube, so that you can catch the live stream or you can catch the recording. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, go to lifebuild.com. You can see the Lifebuild in the background there. Just type in lifebuild.com and you can sign up to my Telegram group, where I send out a daily free inspirational quotes, usually some teachings around that, often some of the quotes, as you saw in today's session, that was all in the Telegram group. Although I show it on email, it's duplicated in Telegram pretty much. And then that leads us into a Course in Miracles mind training lesson. So again, it's adapted. You saw how the original text is adapted, so you get access to some of that. You get a breath break or short mini meditation to practice the lesson, and you get invitations to join these live sessions, which you can do at no charge for 3 weeks. So check it out. If you like it, like the session, you liked the teachings, head over to lifebuild.com, put in your mobile number that you use for Telegram. If you don't have Telegram, just download the app free on the Google Play Store, the App Store, and I will then add you to the group and you'll receive all that information completely free. And hopefully that inspires you to go deeper. So I hope to catch you in the group, maybe in one of these live sessions soon, and wishing you only the best. So I wish you many miracles and a grievance-free evening and week ahead. Thanks for watching, listening, and namaste, which means the free self in me acknowledges and honors that same free, peaceful self in you.